I'm going to call to order the April 7, 2015 Borough Mechanicsburg Council meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
President Whitcomb.
Here.
Vice President Whitcomb.
Here.
Councilman McDermott. Mallard.
Here.
Hellman.
Here.
Stoner.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Mayor Ritter.
Here.
Solicitor Point. Here. Engineer Rogowski. Chief Spock.
Here.
Chief Seacrest.
Here.
Secretary Dennis.
Here. Do we have any guests? Citizen comments and requests?
Richard Snyder, 338 West Main Street. I saw on the agenda there was a recycling reward that's going to continue to talk about this being for the next year. Under the same category as previous conversations, you might want to take a look into the finances of it. From what I've been able to determine, recycling of tin cans, glass, and plastic is pretty much a net loss. Not the only thing good is aluminum. Don't take my word for it, please check it out yourself. And speaking of that, now I don't have Sunday nights, but I have Monday night and tonight's taking the dogs for a walk in the park. I go in the morning before I go to work, and after I feed them at about 5:20. And on the way home, at the end of that nice parking lot at the end of Washington Street, there's, well, this was tonight, that was Monday night, Sunday night was about the same thing. I think there's a sign up there that says no alcohol in the park, so just might want to look sometime between 6 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Somebody's partying in the park at the parking lot.
Dick, were they bagged like that or just loose?
No, this is a responsible dog walker.
Okay. I mean, I meant only from the standpoint of whether or not somebody may have a car as a group or whether they just spread out.
Nah, they're kind of like
Okay.
everywhere in the parking lot and in the grass.
All over the parking lot or around where like
Mostly
bar would
the
be?
eastern side and into the grass towards the ballpark over at York Street. Just in that area there behind that
And
yellow
around that
house.
edge of that house.
Yeah, and probably 70–80% at the parking lot or within 5 feet of the parking lot.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Any other citizen comments or requests? We need a motion for approval of the minutes of the council meeting of March 17, 2015. Motion is made.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any additions to the committee portion of the agenda? We need a motion for approval of the committee agenda. Motion's been made. Seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Standing committees of Borough Council, Community and Economic Development, Councilman Weber.
All right, I will defer to Councilman Pellman first for Downtown Partnership.
We didn't have the first meeting last month for council, so there are a couple of things I'd like to mention about the Downtown Mechanicsburg Partnership. Probably one of the biggest is that Bob Jurek is no longer on the board or the president. He resigned, and now Susan from the library is the president of the...
Sue Erdman?
Yeah, Sue Erdman from the library is now president of the Downtown Mechanicsburg Partnership. The partnership also has confirmed their dates for their big events for this coming year. And April 18th is Earth Day, so that's just right around the corner. May 9th is their wine walk, and their Mugs and Music event will be September 19th. And that's all I have.
Anything else? Rebecca?
Good evening, everyone. You have a copy of my report. We have an About Face grant application from Weddings in Bloom. They've relocated to 107 East Main, and their associated companion business, which is Kelly Weiland Photography. They share a space in that building. They're looking for grant funding for lighting, signing, and painting, moving a little bit, or board replacement too in the front there, and a new railing. So look for an announcement about a site visit that you'll be invited to attend along with members of the board of the Downtown Mechanicsburg Partnership. I've also reapproached Richard Riley about the possibility of painting the upper floors of his building where Metropolis Collective is located. And I wanted to remind him too that in addition to the About Face grant, we have the Cumberland Street View grant. And I know a lot of sole proprietors who are painters, great painters, including one that we use for a lot of the buildings downtown. So that would take away the sting of the prevailing wage requirement with that particular grant. That would provide a lot of funding for that particular project if he's interested in doing that project this year. Under business and property updates, I mentioned last month that I was going to be speaking to the Mechanicsburg Museum Association to gauge their interest in the condemned property at 203 East Main Street. They're absolutely interested, and with that, we'll be convening a meeting of partners to gauge their interest in the Museum Association, in the end, owning that property and maintaining that property, and certainly the borough, many arms of the borough will be involved in that. The Mechanicsburg Art Center School and Gallery, more on that in a second. The partnership, neighbors, pace setters, and other interests, the redevelopment authority, other county interests. So watch for that as well. We'll determine their interest, but also the next steps. And we have some funding in place for that already. We're revisiting discussions with the Mechanicsburg Art Center School and Gallery. They're revisiting their interest in the Frankenberger. Is there an N or not? Everybody has a different opinion on whether there's an N in Frankenberger or not. Place, the office building, which hosts the Museum Association's Tavern. They've met with, the Museum Association has met with the Capellos, the owners of the property, about a long-term lease for that. They don't have one right now. The Art Center School would like to buy that building. The price has been reduced. They would love to have the Museum Association as the neighbor next door, and would have added a great venue for the students to use that green space, what will be a green space, and so forth. So a lot of legs to that project. Certainly won't happen overnight. It's already been a how-many-year saga, and will continue, but it'll happen. Billy Martin, I continue working with Billy. He's the gentleman who has Side Deli in downtown Carlisle. He's interested in leasing State Street. We continue to work on that financing for him. And I mentioned Weddings and Blooms and Kelly Wiley Photography. The Badleys, I heard of Badleys before I moved here 15 years ago. Your musicians probably are aware of them as well. Well, they're going to be here this Saturday at Metropolis Collective. So bring some friends and come and see them. It's BYOB, and the cover charge, well, you pick whatever cover charge you care to provide there. Blue Door Vaping has moved within the borough to 28 East Simpson Street, and Razor and Hair Salon is right next door. Construction of my point, right next door to the borough building. The pole banners project, they're in production right now. I presented to the HARB last night. There are 47 banners. That sounds like a lot. They may not all be used at any one time. The borough has a copy of all of them. I didn't provide all of them for you. I think you've seen just about all of them so far, but the borough has a copy of all of the different designs, and they should be arriving here in about 2 to 3 weeks at best. The brackets will be placed as we can get them. I'm not in any particular hurry for them to go up. I know that you have a lot of work to be done. I understand and appreciate that. This project took a lot longer than I would have liked, and certainly than I anticipated. So that's on me. My office has moved, and I finally have a phone number to share with you. It's there. I am now at 53 West South Street, and I'm the only one from the redevelopment authority who has moved. That's simply a function of us being overwhelmed and overloaded and bursting at the seams. No other message in that. Like Councilman Pellman mentioned, Earth Day is this Saturday, April 18th, so come and be part of the great cloth diaper exchange. Or if that's not for you, maybe the clean car concourse is more up your alley, or a bid on one of the rain barrels painted by a local artist. If not, there's plenty of music and vendors and all kinds kinds of activities for people of all ages. That's what I have. Anything for me? Anything in your area?
How close are you to one East Main Street?
Well, we won't be using the Borough loan program for that. I would say they would like him to lease as of May 1st, and we're looking more like June 1st. It's very close. I expected that one coming. And I don't say that unless I'm pretty harsh.
Thank you.
I got one thing on it. I'm not, don't take this wrong way, Rebecca, this is just my thoughts. I got a chance really last night at the hard meeting, got a chance to look at banners. And I heard what you were saying. My only thing was I had with them, when I even saw them in my paperwork, was I wish there was more of the downtown, I wish some more of the buildings in town were used in those banners than what was used in them. I understood what you were saying last night, but I still think there's still, we have buildings in town that people recognize in the county, in the state, and all that, that know it's Mechanicsburg. None of them were ever used in these banners. You know, I understand where you're coming from. That's just my opinion.
Well, they weren't used because they're here. There were no photos of anything that's here.
Right, but we could still use pictures from the building.
You mean the existing, there's no pictures of an existing, a building's not still here? Is that what you're saying? It's no longer in existence, building?
Well, the banners are of photos of existing,
I think the idea is it would be a little odd to have a picture of a building in front of the building. Is what,
Or retaliate. I haven't changed in 100 years.
No.
I'm
Okay,
just saying.
never- that's-
That was just my thing.
Okay. Thank you.
and we will work, frankly, to not put anything resembling what's on the banner in front of something that resembles the banner. I'll give you an example. Easy Hearth, which is a business across from the library. They talked with me when they were opening about their sign, and they wanted to put a picture of their building on the sign. I thought, why would you put a picture of your building on your sign, which is in front of your building? Why don't you put something that represents what it is you do, to suggest to people what it is you do, what your business is all about? They can see what the building looks like. Let's give them some more clues as to what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Finance Administration, what is?
Question for Patrick. Last week there was a talk about some parking ordinances on East and Allen Street, and whether or not it was in the book or not in the book. Have you gotten a chance to research that at all?
No, I will do that tomorrow.
Could you do that at some point in time and let me know, and then if need be, we'll call an ordinance committee?
Absolutely. Okay. Yep, we'll do that first thing tomorrow morning.
That's all I have.
Thank you. You have something in, lady?
Yes, you do. We
Okay.
are currently in the third year of a 3-year contract with York Waste for our Republic Services for our refuge and recycling here in the borough. So the recycling committee and staff wanted to address for council to see if there was any interest in going out to bid for a different contractor possibly, or if you were interested in extending a 2-year contract extension with the current hauler. Those are the two options that are available. The contract will expire at the end of the year. It usually takes several months to review the documents, get them updated, send them to the solicitor, send them back to you for review. So if you were interested in starting the bidding process, we'd like to go out to bid over the summer months.
So you're talking about going out for new bids?
Yeah,
And
we have some,
do we still have enough time to renew the existing 2-year extension if it comes in better than the other one?
that's tricky.
Huh?
I would say once you go down the route of bidding it, you're gonna have to go with the low bidder. And my
The
guess,
gas prices are down right now,
Yeah.
diesel and gas.
I don't think you can have it both ways, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think
I didn't think so. but-
No, I like that
I thought it
question.
was-
No, I like the question. I think once we go down the route of going out to bid, we have to decline the option and say that we're gonna decline it at the end of the year and then begin the process of going out to bid.
Based on my own personal experience and what I read in the packet, based on what you folks have said, I'd say definitely go out and bid it.
Yeah.
They were cheaper, but with that, and I will say it publicly, they're trying their best to meet our needs, but they're not. There's a lot of issues that we've had that we didn't have.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't believe that, but I shouldn't say that. There are issues, I mean, in front of our own building, with the trash cans there, the previous hauler would pick them up consistently, now they hardly ever get picked up.
I agree with you,
And
and I'm trying to be
I know.
nice, but there are substantial issues that we've identified, that you read, that, I mean, we've kept track of all of the complaints, every report, we've gone over them with Republic. I think we've given them a fair shake the 3 years, and I think that we may see, I mean, we've already gotten a call from one of the other vendors that's hungry, so we may see slight uptick in cost, but, you know.
Do we have to go into a section down below to take an order to do that?
We put it on the agenda for you to authorize us to do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get down that. Okay, sorry. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Nothing for the internal review. Municipal and community outreach, Councilman Weber.
Yes, just a couple of items. Mr. President, the town hall meeting that we began last year, we did a spring and a fall town hall meeting. The town hall meeting is scheduled April 23rd. We'll most likely be at the Elmwood Building again, just in case we have more people than will fit in this room. There are two items for discussion at that meeting. One, and probably the biggest one right now, as far as the borough is concerned, is the curb and sidewalk situation on York and Shepherdstown Road. There should be some interesting discussion there. And also, we always try to put something in that's informative. And the second choice is building and zoning permits, because we feel that most of our citizens have no idea what to do when they have to come to fill those particular permits out, and hopefully give them some insight into that. The next meeting of the Municipal and Community Outreach is scheduled for April 15th at 10 a.m. And you see on your agenda, there's discussion on the community outreach in year 2 of the Recycle Right Rewards program. You have information on that in your packet. It's a rather lengthy triple stapled packet, actually.
Provided by Mr. Hirsch at the recycling.
There you go. On recycled paper, probably. But I'm going to turn that over to Manager Dennis for any additional discussion on that item.
I don't really have anything to add.
No, just
Nothing to
that,
add?
No.
you know, they'd like to continue with a quarterly program in year 2, and they're asking for Borough Council's permission to do it.
Okay.
With the posting option of informing people of how they can better prepare for
I
that.
didn't know if you had any addition to add.
No, Carl did an excellent job of
Yeah, this is very
summarizing
thorough.
that.
Very thorough. For those of you who don't have one, it's pretty thorough. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I have some library.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. As usual, the library has all kinds of things going on at it of late, and 2 of their big fundraisers are coming up, and if people out there can help out in any way, one way is to go to the fundraiser they have at Ashcombs. And if you go to Ashcombs on Thursday, April 16th from 9 to 7, any of your purchases, 20% of the cost of your purchase will go to the library. Also, TJ Rockwell's Dine Out, and I am particularly fond of this restaurant. Thursday, April 16th from 4 to 10, if you go, 15% of your meals costs will go to the library. And just as an indication, they had a fundraiser, a library fundraiser at Haas's recently that I attended, and I think that was their most successful restaurant assisted fundraiser that they've had to date. So please go out to TJ Rockwell's, run up the bill, purchase a few drinks and a nice dinner, and 15% will go to the library. Also, Library Week is April 13th. And several VIP readers will be coming to National Library Week, and two of them are sitting at this panel here this evening. The mayor and the chief are both speaking or reading during Library Week. And if you're interested, Chief Spots reads Tuesday at 1:30, and the mayor reads 8:30 in the morning on Wednesday of that week. Pat Vance, Thursday, April 16th, Cheryl Delosier, 6:30 on Monday, and one of our firefighters, Brian Smith-Myers, reading at 1:30 on Monday, April 13th. So lots of things going on. This is just, real, just touching the face of all the events that they have there, and just all kinds of things going on. One other thing, rain barrels are going to be on display prior to the Earth Day Festival at the library. And of course, Rebecca mentioned the rain barrels, which are becoming more important for people to use rainwater to.
Are they gonna sell it?
I think it,
It's a silent auction,
Okay.
so you bid on them, and then they're announced the day of.
Okay.
Birthday, the winner was.
Thank you.
that's it.
Okay, that's it, that one. Now you got property, parks and recreation.
And actually, Mark and myself both attended the joint rec board meeting just last week.
Last one.
Do you think there was anything that needs?
Basically held, well, people don't know what that is, that's the joint rec, meeting between the school board, up around township, Shermanstown, Mechanicsburg Borough, held at least once a year. Last year we had two of them. Basically go over some strategic things that, we want to do as a combined intermunicipality. We can do what the school district with up around Mechanicsburg and Shermanstown can do to all combine. We got basically update on what the rec board's initiative, what the rec commission, park and recreation area office, what they have planned for the spring and summer, and some of the fall stuff they have planned for the year. And the school district told us what they were planning on, some things up around, what they have in the works and what we had all in the works. So it was a informative meeting, what everybody has going on, coming up in this year coming up.
Thank you.
Also, you have anything else, Scotty?
No, nothing.
I got a couple things. Also, I want to thank everybody that helped out for the Easter egg hunt last Saturday. Heard it was pretty good. Unfortunately, I had to work. I'm sorry. Also, one thing was brought up at the joint rec meeting was they're looking for volunteers for an honor bus on April 26th to go to DC. I think this year, they were saying they were honoring the Vietnam vets going down to DC. So anybody interested in volunteering, contact the rec office. They're always looking for people to help on these type of trips. Also looking for, this is a little early now, looking for volunteers for the Try for Kids triathlon in July, on the 25th of July. Contact the rec office if you want to volunteer for that event too at the park. And the next rec board meeting is next Tuesday here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
I just have one thing, I'll make a slight correction. The honor bus that's scheduled for April is the last World War II Korean War
Sorry.
bus that we call. This is the last one. This was originally started by students, 8th grade students, most of whom have graduated already. So the hope is that a new committee is formed and that bus will continue for Vietnam veterans. That's where the Vietnam thing comes in. So if anyone's interested in helping out, it's a great day. I've been involved with a number of them in one way or another, and it's a very rewarding experience to go with these veterans and take them around for a day. And
There's not too many of them left.
there's not a lot left. And we've oversaturated, if there's such a word, the veterans. We've branched out to York County, Dauphin County, Lebanon County, because it's harder and harder to find veterans. And they can only go once. They can't go a second time.
Did you see that one TV report on, was it Colonel Waller or Major Waller?
Oh, yeah.
The fighter plane pilot? He's from Mechanicsburg somewhere.
Double A's.
Yeah, double H, yeah.
Lives out in Back Creek.
Hmm?
Lives out in Back.
Oh, is that where he lives at now? Bad Creek? Okay.
Well, I think if we move on, I have a question for Patrick. Where do we stand on the lights up at the park?
I had Tom Witters from Wrightstone go out. He's working on a proposal to me to put the lights in. So that was about 2.5 weeks ago. I'll follow up with him.
Thank you.
Thank you, you got some.
That includes, they're all going, all the ones that we have going LED and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get it done shortly.
I don't know. Spring there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I guess we have a presentation by Heidi Biggs.
Good evening, I'm Heidi Biggs. I've been a resident of Mechanicsburg Borough for about 5.5 years, and I'm a member of the Environmental Advisory Council, and I will be able to, this is under your name here, but when we were planned, we were a specialist. Thank you.
I wasn't sure.
Not sure.
Don't mess it up.
How's that?
Hopefully you'll all be able to see the PowerPoint. It's kind of small, so I have a couple slides that are pretty wordy, so I might have to read through them. Like I said, I'm a member of the EAC. We've been discussing for a little while a project that we've really gotten excited about, and I will get into that a little bit. We've just really been in a research and information gathering stage so far, but we thought it was a good time to try to move forward and get your support. So what we want to do is a natural play area project here in Mechanicsburg Borough. First of all, I just want to briefly discuss why natural play is important, in case that's sort of a new term for you. I want to show you some examples of natural play areas, and I want to discuss a little bit about applying for a DCNR grant. Okay, so natural play, what is that? It's unstructured, unorganized play outdoors, which is pretty much what it sounds like. Basically, the idea behind natural play is that it's child-focused, it's not adult-controlled or organized that way. And some of the benefits is that it supports emotional, physical, and intellectual development. There's even been research that it can help with ADHD and other similar disabilities. It's, like I said, unstructured, unorganized play. It stimulates creativity and enhances imagination and problem-solving abilities. And really it can connect kids to nature. It fosters environmental awareness and concern. Research points to the frequent unstructured nature play as the best way for kids to bond with nature. And then, of course, then it can increase physical activity just like other recreation. There was a book that was released in 2005 by Richard Lau called Last Child in the Woods. And he coined the term nature deficit disorder. And basically, and if you think about the kids that you know in your lives, you might see a lot of this because kids are really plugged into media very often. They don't have a lot of time because of organized activities, even school. There's parental fears about kids being allowed to play outdoors unsupervised or for long periods of time. And then really, maybe the only one that we could really address sort of easily is the limited access to natural areas. And again, the idea of nature deficit disorder is just that kids aren't getting enough time to play in an unstructured manner outdoors. I'll read this quote and then I'll kind of go back on. But I came across this quote and I really liked it a lot because I think it really explains what we can do here in the borough. A generation ago, playing outdoors in nature was usually taken for granted, but times have changed. Now, nature must be deliberately designed back into children's lives. In today's urban and suburban environments, natural spaces are often too remotely located for visiting on a regular basis. And basically, the idea behind this is, my husband and I moved to the borough because we liked the fact that there was a great community here, and there's walkability, there's mature trees, but it's not the same as living in the woods. It's the suburbs. So there's this part that maybe we can kind of have both of those elements if we're able to sort of deliberately design nature back into our community. Now, we live in this area where we can drive to state parks, the Appalachian Trail, other nature trails, even the environmental center is nearby, but that's not necessarily accessible on a daily basis for most people. When kids are in school all day and you've been working and whatever, it's not something you can do every evening. Might just be a weekend trip. So that's something we thought that maybe we can move towards is bringing nature into the borough. So it's going to be sort of hard for some of you to see, but I have some pictures of some natural play areas up here, and this is just taken from online. Honestly, these are all over the world. So you can see there's kids just climbing on different size of stumps. There's a little bridge made out of logs. Go ahead. You can move forward. Here again, kids jumping around on stumps. Some little huts made out of sticks. And they can be really simple, like stumps, or they can be a little bit more complex. There's a sort of a nest down to the right on the lower side of that. Again, some more, logs. Kids are just walking along, like balance beams. There's a little bit of a sort of a play area up on the top right, amphitheater type thing that's made out of natural elements. A climbing wall on the right side to on the bottom. And you can even have themes. This is sort of a cooking theme. There's a little campfire to the right, a little table to the left. Music themes, that's another element. There are a lot of different options for natural elements that can be have a musical theme. This one I'm kind of partial to is the water theme. There's a little bridge over sort of a fake creek with just pebbles and plants. And beyond just the themes and the different elements that you see, a natural play area could also have signage that shows identification of birds and trees and other plants. They also we could even have signage to remind parents of why natural play is beneficial and remind them to allow unstructured natural play, because it kind of goes against the grain of how things are now, because we like things organized and we kind of like to have control of things. So you may be wondering where would we like to have this natural play area. We think that Kosher Park, there's a really great spot in Kosher Park that's a wooded area that's really underutilized right now. And if we maintained those trees and cleaned up some of the brush and probably poison ivy and
I was
things.
just gonna say, poison ivy.
Yes, a little bit of work.
Get that out there.
But just the trees alone, it's kind of a unique spot in the borough, and we could maintain those trees to really create a sense of place. And also, it's adjacent to the kindergarten academy, so we could do this play area in several phases, and phase one could be geared towards those kindergarten age children. And here's a picture of Kosher Park. You see the clump of trees sort of in the middle, and that's about what we're looking at for a project area. We don't have specifics of exactly where or exactly what right now. So a little bit about the grant application process. The grant that we are interested in applying for is a DCNR grant. It's the C2P2, which is Community Conservation, Preservation, there's another P there. C2P2, I should have just left it at that. The application period opens in January and it closes in April. The grants are awarded in the fall. They pay out the following spring. So we would be looking at applying January 2016. We would hope to have the grant in the fall of 2016 and then have the money in 2017. Is that right? It requires a 50% match. The applicant has to be the owner, the lessee of the property, and we have to consider ADA compliance in that. And the applicant being the owner or lessee, some of you, if you're aware of that, the area in Kosher Park, that's actually owned by the school district, if I understand correctly, and so that's something that we need to deal with. I can talk about in a later slide. I guess it's this slide. This is the slide that says really busy, and since you all probably can't read this very well, I'll try to go through it pretty quickly. So like I said, we've already been through the information collection and we've been trying to get our research together. So the next step would be preparing a formal proposal for the school district and the Borough Council, and we're looking at this spring 2015. And so that formal proposal would include an overview of the project. It would include proposed lease terms for the area that we want to use in Kosher Park. It would include the requirement for the school to provide a handicap accessible parking spot, which would meet then we would have the ADA compliance part of the grant application. Also an agreement to provide focus groups from the Kindergarten Academy for the design phase. So we want to get some kindergartner feedback to what kind of features they would be interested in seeing. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. And request for resolutions of support from the school district and the Borough Council. So that's something we would be back for. And then step 2 would be to do a request for a proposal to get a consultant to design the play area. And so in that phase, we would want to identify partners in the community. We would hold those focus groups. We would come up with our plan for the project so that we can provide that with the grant application, and then also prepare a draft budget. And then we want to meet with DCNR again, which we've done that as part of our information collection phase of the project. We'd have to compile the materials for the grant submission, and like I said, that would be March of 2016. So next year, we would be getting ready to apply for the grant next spring. So, sorry, that was a lot in that last slide, but does anyone have any questions? I'll try to answer.
I do. Peggy, I was on Borough Council probably 5 or 6 years ago, and at that time we were putting some park equipment at some of the playground equipment in some of the parks, and we painstakingly went through a process of making sure we had enough ground cover and stuff underneath certain pieces of play equipment. The pictures that you showed up here didn't seem to have any kind of ground cover around any of the activities. Is that something that's required or not required because of being a natural area? Or?
I don't know specifically, but I know there are some guidelines out here. Even DCNR has come out with some safety guidelines for natural play areas. So that makes me think that they're treating it differently than any other recreational equipment.
So you would be looking, that would be part of the project?
Yeah, you'll be looking in on that before you, know how much is involved in the grant.
Right, yeah. And again, like this is a DCNR grant too, and we are in communication with the people who will be helping us do that, so we can ask those questions and make sure that we have our
And
chickens
when
in
it
a row.
comes to financing, are you going to be asking the Borough of Mechanicsburg to put some money into this also in conjunction with the school and the DCNR grant, or just how
I
is that
think
going to come
that
together?
there's been some money, maybe Linda can fill in a little bit. Linda sits in the meeting with
They
us.
had money left over in the 2014 budget, which was moved to capital, and they have money budgeted this year that would cover the initial upfront cost of preparing for the grant application. When they go through the RFP process, we would have a better idea about what the cost would be, because the cost would be based on what types of improvements they wanted to include. And at that point, the EAC would have to come back then to Borough Council and ask for the budget up to match.
And I guess I wanted to ask you about costs specifically. Is the money going to come from 2 entities or 3?
The borough will be the applicant.
Yeah, the borough's gonna be the applicant. This would,
So it's gonna come from us.
But even though the land is owned by the school,
I think part of the process would be, and granted, I don't know for sure, and you would have told me the school would have given us money for a baseball field 5 years ago, things change.
Yeah.
So, I think that can be part of the discussion, but at least in the preliminary phase of this is an EAC driven,
Okay.
we want to build this for and expand the parkland in the borough.
okay.
Thus, hey, school district, you've got useless land, can we have it so we can expand it?
So you envision the school giving us a portion of this land?
That would, the way I would see it would be, 'cause
Okay.
it's not,
Similar
there's
to
no value to
some
it.
That's what I wasn't understanding.
Yeah, no, there's no value, there's value to it, but there's no value to the land there because of the poison ivy, because of the fact that
There's
it's
a lot of
basic.
rocks in there.
Well, it's rock and it's a dumping area. I
Okay.
mean, right now, they dump,
Got it.
the school district as well as us, we dump stuff back there.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of a utilization and expansion of, we don't have enough parkland as it is, let's find a way to expand this out and provide a new amenity.
And we got positive feedback from preliminary discussions with school district staff, but of course, we would have to make a proposal
Yeah.
for the board. But their staff seem to be in favor of utilizing the area in a more positive way than it's being utilized.
The tricky part from some preliminary discussions with people that are involved in these natural playgrounds is, as Heidi said, the ADA compliance part of this would be a little bit tricky in that area. I think that we could come up with some solutions to it, because there is a parking lot that's there, and whether that's a gravel path up to it or whatever. But as she said with the in-kind match, there's things that our guys could do that would help cover some of that cash match. That's where my mind went when we first started talking about this. The second point of it is that if we see that the cost becomes prohibitive, there's a way that if we do it ourselves, if we find a cheaper way to do it, the guys do it, we can make a small, if the school district gives us the land.
You can downsize the project.
Exactly, and if we go to the C2P2 stuff, then that ADA stuff has to happen.
So
And
we keep the project downsized if we need.
and we see what the cost is gonna be, and you
Yeah.
know, it's, until we get to that point, it's hard to talk dollars and cents, because
Yeah.
I think this is kind of like when somebody talks about building a skate park, not that I'm comparing it to the skate park problems that we've had with doing that, but you can build a 1,500 square foot one, or you can build a 50,000 square foot one. And here, if we see that the C2P2 stuff is getting a little expensive, there's ways that we can downsize this, but the first step, as Heidi said,
Yeah.
is that we gotta get the school district to say, hey, you can have it, and then we'll run 100 miles an hour to get it done.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was going to ask one thing, since the school district is involved with this in one form or another.
Yeah.
Have you contacted the rec department, Tug Brown's office? Because Tanya does a lot of DCNR grants. She's like your expert.
We already talked
Okay,
about it.
good.
She has been in front of the joint rec board already, in October, and presented this
Okay.
in front of,
Councilman Stars, seen us a few
Yeah.
times.
this is my fourth time.
And the Borough Rec Board, she made the presentation for our rec board as well last fall.
Thank you.
Good job.
We're going to defer this to Chief Seacrest.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Coleman. Manager Dennis, some time ago, had mentioned in talking with a couple of council members, there was a little reason to take a look at maybe kind of updating council, some being new on council, some being older and been around. Just kind of updating on what is happening in the emergency services within the borough. And some of the things that have come to light over the last couple of months and everything is, where do we stand as emergency preparedness or emergency management, and the volunteer fire system that we have, and how we would handle the different problems that could arise in today's environment. And if I could, I think I put at each one of your positions what they call a box alarm book. And this is strictly, it's an old one, it's not the most current and up to date, but just to kind of give you an idea how the system works. The county 911 system, whenever a 911 call is made, it is picked up by the dispatcher. They kind of take a look to see the area, what type of emergency, and if it's a fire or EMS related, depending on the medical terms, the fire department is dispatched on what they call a CAD system. And a CAD is a system that's computer generated, and it takes care of a lot of second guessing and helps cut down time and things like that. In the CAD system, you think ahead and you plan for the different emergencies that would come up. And within the CAD system, and you can see there's reference to the ambulance, engines, truck companies, those are your ladder trucks, your rescues, tankers, brush. Your rescue tools, you have phone, and there's also a medic over in the right-hand column, and there's another area that should be there, which is not, and that's a RIT, R-I-T. And some of those areas are looked at, and in case if we should have, give you an example, in the borough of Mechanicsburg, and this has happened, that for some reason or other, we've had a major water main break, and we lose water pressure in town. If we had an emergency and we needed water in a quick and a moment's notice, we would switch, rather than using the hydrants, to what they call rural firefighting, which we would have our neighboring companies coming in and dispatched, and would set up pull-to tanks at major intersections and things like that. And looking at the tankers, if you take a look at the tanker line, there's 23, 25, 31, 33. Those are designated tankers that are closest to the proximity of our town. Using, for instance, 23, which is Upper Allen Township, and they have a tanker there, and that's 3.0 miles from our town, or downtown. And if we would have a major break, and rather than someone trying to think about how many tankers or what tankers they want, they would just say, give me the first 5 tankers in. Or they could say, give me 10 tankers, I need an extra pumper to go to Trindle Springs to set up for a drafting site. It takes a whole lot of pressure and a whole lot of second guessing and everything else in a particular emergency. If you look at the development in today's environment and all the different scenarios that you could go through, in the county 911 system, in the CAD system, they have different type of teams. Let's say you use, for instance, Team 100 is a river rescue. That's out in New Cumberland. And they also, throughout the county, we have other different types of areas. Let's say Mount Holly Springs has a boat. Monroe Township has a boat. So if we have a flooding condition, either in town or over on the Yellow Breeches Creek or in the Connequina Creek, we can ask Team 100 to respond, and we know you're going to get several boats or river rescue to start, and then asking for additional equipment. There's then Team 200, which handles the hazmat. That's any type of incident which would be required or would have an excess of, let's say, around 50 to 55 gallons of some type of petroleum product. It could be an acid or anything else like that. We were fortunate in Team 200 to have Mr. Kaufman, who worked at the Mechanicsburg School District. He was on that as kind of a consultant. So when you call Team 200, you get kind of professional people at levels in which they are familiar on how to handle those emergencies. Under the hazmat team also falls foam. And if you look on the run list there, you have at the bottom of about the middle of the page, foam. And you see engine 237, engine 337. You also, even down below that, YCT is York County. You have DCC crash. That's some of your airport crash trucks. So that if we run into a major instance, which we have a tank truck or a tank car on the Norfolk Southern Railroad going through, or any other incident that would be required to use any type of foam, those are the units that we could ask for, just say 718 200, and they start to send the staff from county and also these individuals, and they start to send the equipment in through to help us. Mass casualty, that would, let's say, would be, we have a lot of people injured. That would be, let's say, if the bleachers broke down and we had several hundred people on the bleachers and it collapsed. We would ask for Team 300, which is a mass casualty. Those would bring EMS people. We would be able to set up landing zones around in the areas of Mechanicsburg and be able to transport either airlift or by ambulances. We have what they call Team 400 within the county system. And this is a search team. This is a person or a group of people that would come, let's say, to the borough office or the borough command post, which we would have, which the police department would be involved. And everybody would work together to set up a grid and start to look and search for an individual or whatever needs are needed to take care of. The next Team 500 is what they call the TROT. And TROT is a trench rescue team, or if like you have a vehicle into a structure. In many cases, you'll hear from time to time on the news that someone slipped on the brake and hit the gas and they drove their car into a business establishment or whatever. We're very fortunate in our town that we have both members of both the Citizens and the Washington Fire Company are active members in the trot team. In fact, we have some heavy equipment for the trot team that responds within the county, and we actually go out of county. And we go into York County, Adams County. That's why some of the times when you see that we run mutual aid to, let's say, Franklin County, it may have been that we had a team of Amish horses went through the ice on a pond and they needed rescue, and they asked for the Team 500. Team 600 is the cart. That is specifically for animals. Give you an existence with the turnpike, interstate, truck hauling large numbers of animals and product that are alive going to the slaughter, may be involved in an accident. If they need help or need taken care of, this team is activated and comes over and comes into your community and assists in animal rescue and animal management. Chief Spots is familiar with this. This is Team 700, the SRT team. I know we had a couple of our police officers from our Borough Police Department on the SRT team. And again, those people are supported and we support them. If they are called out, police department will possibly call us for either lighting off the aerial. They'll ask us to stand by a couple blocks away in case if they're needed. And also with EMS working hand in hand in conjunction. There's a Team 800, that's a Special Police Emergencies Response. That was developed here a couple years ago, which we have members of our fire police participate in that. That is usually when that's most activated is in areas when there's an accident on 81 and they close a part of 81 from one exit to another where they move traffic through a municipality, whether it be Carlisle, through Middlesex or Silver Springs, or possibly even through the Borough of Mechanicsburg if they ever chose to direct traffic through 641. And then the last one is a PIO officer. That's a public information officer. That's way if we have a major incident and the mayor declares an emergency and we need to know or are going to have a lot of news media coming in and setting up their vans like they do at Jubilee Day and come in and they want to report the news. Looking at all those things, we also, the RIT team is a team specialized for helping and assisting firefighters. And what I mean by that, if we normally go to a second alarm or third alarm or anything else like that, we have automatically a RIT team that comes up. It's a group of men and a piece of apparatus. Our first due is New Cumberland Army Depot. They will send a rescue truck up with 4, possibly 6 men, and one of those 4 sometimes would be a medic unit on that. And they are to stand by in reserve in case if we have a building collapse or an explosion or something like that, that they are handy, they're fresh, they're ready to go, they have the equipment. If we have to make a major rescue, that the RIT team is ready to go. Our backup to New Cumberland Army Depot is Harrisburg Bureau of Fire with their rescue unit. So when you look at some of the professional people and the things that we operate around and together with, the incident command system is alive and well and working together. And we've tried to keep up with our training. We have some, I believe 6 to 8 people go down to the National Fire Academy for Pennsylvania Weekend every year. We have people going to different seminars, both at Hack, down to Lancaster, up to Lewistown, to the Fire Academy, getting updates, learning new things, keeping up to date with things like we talked about having sometime in the next month or 2 solar panel emergencies, what we do when we run into solar panels on our roofs, which we have a couple places here in town, and how to disconnect and where the disconnects are, because the different systems operate differently from one to the other. It's very, very similar to your new automobiles. and the metals and the material that they're putting into them, even the electric cars, the batteries and everything else. We had one of our fire officers meeting, didn't realize it, but one of the fellows ran across that on some of your more expensive cars, they have the little logo, and if you take your cell phone and you go up to the little designated thing and put that on emergency service, it can tell you actually how to disconnect or how to work and dismantle that car or take care of it safely. So the different classes that we're going to upgrading and trying to do, going through and I'll share with you a kind of a little history in the background on the ethanol that goes down in the tank cars. When the tank farm was expanded in Texaco Road in Silver Springs Township, and they started using the 10% ethanol. With that said, what they would do is they would transport the ethanol in by Penline, which has their building up on Pleasant View and up in that area. They would run tankers from New Jersey and Philadelphia and bring the ethanol up through and into Texaco Road, in which they would put into the tank. When the tank was 10% filled, then they would take the product that they're mixing and pump in the other 90% to do the 100% mix, in which they take and put into your tank trucks that would go around and service your gas stations in the local area. Because that product, the ethanol, is not compatible with being put through the pipelines, they have to be in special line containers, either stainless steel or something like that. As they started to expand Texaco Road, the terminal up there, they went to railroad cars, and they put in a pier in which they could handle about 8 railroad cars. Things expanded, they went to 16 cars by going on the other side of the concrete terminal, and then they put the second terminal in, which they could go up to about 30 or 32. So at any one particular time, if you see a train coming through town, heading west toward Texaco Road, those tank cars are full of ethanol product. The tank cars are specially lined. We've had members of both fire companies go to training classes. I personally have been over to Harrisburg Railroad Yards. We've been up on top of the cars, looked at the safety valves and all the features of the tank cars, and what it takes to respect and identify the cars with their numbers, and if we have problems, what we can do to start the ball rolling. If we do have anything, someone would have a derailment or anything else like that, with the hazmat team and with us having training in hazmat recognition and things like that, I feel comfortable that we're up to date, we know what's going on. One other thing that has been mentioned, and there's been a lot of discussion on the pipelines. Some of you may be aware that we have 3 pipelines in our borough. They basically come in from Monroe Township, where the old Sinclair terminal used to be, come down through on the outside edge of town, through the Upper Allen area on South Market Street. If you go out South Market Street where the Hess Farm is, on the right-hand side by one of the culverts just south of the pumping station, you'll see a pipe with a sign and number 103 on it. That's one of the 3 pipelines that are going through there. One of those pipelines are run by Buckeye Products, and the other 2 is run by Enterprise Product. Now in those 3 lines, one is a 24-inch pipeline. It's been there for years, and it runs all different types of products through it. It could be anything from jet fuel to gasoline, to kerosene, and everything else. And to run that product through, they have what they call pigs, or their spacers. And they put a pump in there, and they take the high pressure, they build a pressure up in the pipeline, they put a pig in, and then they put the product behind it, and then they put another pig behind the product. And they will transport that through the system, sometimes up to 600 PSI. and they will move it very, very quickly until they get to an area that they can store it or offload it. So that some of the areas in which the product is going through has been going through the borough for years, has never really caused any problems. We have talked with the pipelines. Roger, here, our codes officer, we're very, very much aware of eventually the Hess Farm's going to be developed by the developer. And we've already been talking to the two people from those pipelines on when it comes time for the contractors to come in, any earth moving equipment, that those right-of-ways are identified and are ready to go. Maybe put something to bed as far as the new pipelines, I think it's the MR1 or the MR2. The one is to go south of the borough along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which is in Upper Allen Township and down into Lower Allen. The other area has just been finished, is coming through Silver Springs. It comes down across and under Trindle Road and comes out down here at the, close to the Wise Market there at the tank farm. In fact, at the west end of the building, the group, Sunoco, you've seen some construction, new tanks being put in there. And they've actually have notified both Hampton Township. They've been very gracious on keeping us up to date on what's going in their area and their product, because we respond mutually with them. And they, whenever they're finished and everything's been tested, they're going to invite us to go down and do a tour of their facility. So as far as the safety factors and things like that, I feel very, very comfortable with the training that the men and women have had in the fire department and also in the EMS areas, and I'm sure in the police departments that everybody's aware of what's going on. And with our CAD system, our 911 system, all we have to do is ask for help and we will have it coming. Whether it be a one person or a team of people from the county 911 system to come down. I think if you think back a couple of years ago, we had an incident up at the park when we had the mosquito trap that was unidentifiable because people went to local hardware stores and bought parts, and here the county came in and put this mosquito catcher, but that ended up being setting the park up with landing zones. We had people from as far away as Maryland. We had people as far away as State College being helicoptered in to the Naval Supply Depot, and a couple people came up from Baltimore on 83. But to do and to have a full-blown incident like that, I feel comfortable with the fellows and ladies that we have in the department. We're kind of ready to go. If unfortunately something should happen, we'll do our very, very best to do it in a professional manner.
Very good, very informative, thank you.
I'm open for any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Chief? Thank you, very informative, thank you. Do we have any agenda additions for action?
Yes, sir.
We need a motion for the approval of the council action agenda, please. Motion's been made. Seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Discussion and possible action to reduce the bond for Admiral's Quay.
We need a motion vote. Motion's been made.
I want to include the dollar amount that was identified by Mr. Rogowski, which is $56,566.78 in the motion.
The motion's been amended to include the amount.
Got it.
We have a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Discussion and possible action to authorize borough staff to prepare bid documents for a municipal solid waste and recycling contract bid for 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We'll get to work. Discussion and possible action to approve the continuation of the Recycling Right Rewards Program as outlined in the memo from the Recycling Committee.
So moved.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Discussion and possible action to authorize the Environmental Advisory Council to prepare preparation for a grant application and intermunicipal agreement with the school district for a natural playground adjacent to Kosher Park.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made, seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before we get into this, the special events permit request, I would entertain a motion that we put them all into one, rather than continue out each individual one. Chief, is there any problem with any of the paperwork?
For the special events, no, there's not. I would just ask that the motion is made subject to the conditions on the special events worksheets for each appropriate event. Because we do have some that we do have costs, although there's no issue.
Yeah.
I'll just read them all and then say subject to conditions
Okay.
on the worksheets.
That'll be fun.
Okay. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for the Art Walk and wine tasting on May 9th, 2015. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for the Memorial Day Parade on May 25th, 2015. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for the Library Summer Reading Kickoff on June 6th, 2015. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for a flag protection ceremony on June 13th, 2015. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for Jubilee Day on June 18th, 2015. Consideration and possible action to approve the special events request for the POW MIA ceremony on September 18th, 2015, subject to the conditions on the worksheets.
So moved.
Motion been made,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Consideration and possible action to accept the resignation of Community Service Officer and Park Security Officer Sawyer Mundorf effective immediately.
Motion been made.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Consideration and possible action to hire Paul Askey as a part-time at-will school crossing guard at a rate of $10 per hour per shift effective immediately.
I'll make that one.
Motion's been made. Seconded. Discussion? I do have one discussion. The salary rate of $10 per session, is that set by us or the school? Or is it a joint?
Well, it's joint together. It's been $10 for probably at least 4 years, at least 4 or 5 years. It's been $10 a shift for.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's a joint. The last time that was raised was joint discussions between the school and the borough. In fact, the school agreed to pay all of the regular, I think it was $8 an hour before. I believe they agreed to pick up all of the additional $2. So we're up to 10.
The school is paying the $10.
We pay, I believe we pay $3.25.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
They pay $6.25.
Sorry, then we pay $3.75, they pay $6.25.
Well, maybe when we come up for negotiation or discussion on the budget, we can look at maybe giving them a little extra money.
Yeah, that's been, I'm guessing 5 years.
So,
That
all right,
has been
well,
a while.
we'll put that on the budget line.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. All right, we have a motion and a discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizens' comments?
Yeah, here we go. I would strongly encourage any of you that have the 17th and 18th open to attend at the Penn Harris, whatever the place is down there. The Pennsylvania Leadership Conference is on the 17th and the 18th. They're going to have a very good listing of people there. It's an excellent networking opportunity if you want to meet people who are working to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And I attended with my son a couple of years ago, and I left substantially impressed. So, if you got the time, if you want the information, I can get you a $10 discount from the $90 down to 80, thanks to the Constitutional Organization of Liberty. So, you know where to find me. I would strongly encourage anybody to attend.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you, Chief Chris, for that great report.
Thank you.
And thank you for every single thing. I always felt confident that if there was an emergency, that there would be responders.
Thank you.
The one thing I would bring to the Borough Council once again is in discussing this wonderful park, is that you guys do not seem to have a format to utilize volunteers or funds from the community for these projects. And I don't understand why. You know, I'm having a grandchild born in Texas. I would love to purchase a tree and send a certificate to my son that there's a tree in Mechanicsburg in honor of my new grandchild, a grandson. But there's nothing, there's no format here. A cherished neighbor of ours passed away. The best way to honor him, the only best way to honor him would be contributing funds to this borough in his honor. There's no way to do that.
But where would you put the tree?
Wherever you want it, in a park, in the new playground would be the perfect place.
Does the borough office accept contributions?
There's a fee in lieu of as part of the like contributions for like donations for trees and stuff? Yeah, sure.
People have donated.
People have donated trees in the past.
Right, if you look on other borough websites, you'll see that there's, you know, if this project would come up on the website, you could put it on the website, list how much you need, and people could start making contributions to that specifically, because they're environmentalists, or they're part of the Sierra Club, or for whatever reason. But you need to look at, you know, have a way to put the projects on the website, have a way to have people donate money to them.
Well, we can't put that project on the website now because we don't have any information
No,
about it.
but when you're talking, you know, you were the one that said where the entities that contribute the funds, cheaper ways of accomplishing projects. You know, this is a few Eagle projects. There's like $175 million worth of volunteer hours, and it was reported in 2012, of people volunteering their services. And we don't have a great format to do that in the borough. And I'm just urging you, you know, to figure out ways to get people in the community to donate their time and their expertise to these projects, to help you with the costs and the funding. And, you know, that needs to be.
Perhaps we could look at that whenever that project gets a little more underway. And we find out what kind of finances are.
It can help with the grant writing.
I beg your pardon?
It can help going into.
I think we have people who have knowledge of the grant writing,
Right.
be able to take care of that.
Okay.
Good evening, Keith Thomas, 423 South Frederick Street. I just step up here to make a suggestion for the Memorial Day Parade. I live on the block that's the block between Coover and Marble Street. When that parade goes through, there's a lot of folks that come to view the parade. There's cars parked all along, so people are in between the cars, out in front of the cars, and just a suggestion that maybe we could have a couple hours of no parking on that block where the parade comes through.
On Cooper Street?
Frederick Street.
Oh, I'm sorry.
As the parade is
okay.
approaching the cemetery, it gets a little bit crowded. Now, it gets parked full because people are participating, but I think it'd have a much better experience for the parade if we could have no parking there for 4 hours.
You're talking between Simpson and Marble?
Marble and Hoover, I think, is all you need, one block.
One block, okay.
One block. Something to look into.
We'll talk.
We have alleys behind our properties. Those of us who live there, we have places to put our cars.
Okay. We'll talk to Chief about that, see what we do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll check in on that, Dave.
Writing my note now, sir.
Thank you. Yes, young lady? You have this as a comment, asking. How's everything down Wall Street?
You mentioned the honor bus. My name is Charlotte Griffiths. I live at 108 South Walnut. I called the school last year, and because I'm retired, I wasn't able to go. My husband, my father, my grandfather, and my son were all in the military. Well, my grandfather and my dad and my husband are dead, but my son still lives here. And it's because of insurance that I wasn't allowed to go to help. My grandfather and grandmother are buried in Arlington. I'd love to help. So instead, I took my granddaughter, my sons, and my aunt down there this summer.
Are you talking about this The bus,
What you talked about.
Miller bus.
And who did you contact to go?
I contacted Becky Lacy,
Okay.
and she said because of insurance purposes, I wouldn't be allowed to go.
That's a matter of their choice.
But there are a lot of people in this town that would like to help because of that camp.
Well, apparently they have some reason for making that statement, so I'm unaware of what their insurance situation is. But if they said that, I would assume they heard the
Becky would
problem.
be the one that would be able to explain that. I have no idea.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Any other citizen comments? Any other business?
Two things. One, two pieces of good news, actually. We got our fuel bids in for 2015 and 16, and they are down $30,000 total from 3 years ago. We are getting a gallon of gas for $1.85 for the next year at a fixed rate. Diesel at $2.24, biodiesel at $2.24, and our heating oil at $2.27. So for a grand total of $62,243, and there have been years where we've been up in the $97,000, $98,000.
Yeah, and if we could get the salt down to a decent.
Well, that commodity, you could go into the salt business right now, that's the way to do it. The other, yeah, that doesn't start till July. The other thing is I was able to find a pool manager. She's hired, brought on, has applications. The kids that have put their applications in should be hearing in the next couple of days. Her, the assistant who has donated some time to come in, as well as the previous manager helping her go through the applications. I have the guys up there painting the pool right now. The highway guys took the leaves out of the pool. The pumps are already put in, so we are about a month behind, but I think we'll end up on schedule. It's going to be a little bit hectic and crazy and busy because our food vendor went out of business as well, so now we're trying to work with finding a food vendor. So we'll get it, but this has been we're a month behind, but we'll get it ready to go.
Very good.
So, end of report.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dave?
No, sir.
Mayor? Gary?
No, thank you.
Joe? Scott?
The only thing I have has been under the Public Works. Just want to council know that the Facilities Committee on the Consolidation Committee started the feasibility study on the 19th of March. Be a 21-week study. After that, they will come back with the results of what they found.
Good. Good. Thank you.
No, sir.
One quick thing, Mr. President, in the March 2015, the fire department responded to 32 calls, 12 in the borough, and 20 outside. That's all I have.
I'll read that over there again.
I'm just the AV guy.
Okay, no problem. Meeting adjourned.